10 or 15 car lengths back to Ricky Rudd, who is currently in 4th position. Well, we're approaching the halfway point. 250 is halfway. We're at 224 of the Valleydale 500. April 12th at 1:30 Eastern Time live. We will have the Dixie Cup 200 Grand National Race from Darlington International Raceway. Now, Morgan Shepherd has won the last 2 Grand National events. He won in Martinsville a couple of weeks ago. He won yesterday here at Bristol. And he certainly has to be the favorite going into next Saturday's Grand National race. And from past experience, Grand National cars on that racetrack provide some of the most exciting racing that I have ever seen. Join us live at 1:30 next Saturday. Well, they continue to run in the same order. It's Terry Labonte leading the Valleydale 500 here at Bristol. 2nd position, still a very tight contest between Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace. Wallace has been hanging back there in 3rd for the last 20-25 laps, and he challenges every once in a while, but just can't seem to get the job done.
Tell you what, this is exactly like NASCAR with, Rusty Wallace going to try it on the outside of the 3-car Dale Earnhardt, and he's making it.
Oh, Rusty Wallace with an outstanding job coming off the corner, just going by Dale Earnhardt. And I believe that Rusty's optimism is very well justified as he moves into 2nd. Jeff Bodine's problems continue. Our pole sitter, who had a bad start and who has had handling problems all afternoon, was in 7th, but now he's in for a pit stop. Gary Nelson, the crew chief, on that car, looking it over closely. Tim Richmond and Kyle Petty are also having a good battle out there on the racetrack. This is for 12th spot. Richmond right now in 12th and Kyle 13th. Tim has really not been overly impressive today. He was the 3rd fastest qualifier, but is right now running in 12th place.
Tim Richmond has had trouble getting the thing going all day long. As we look at Tim Richmond and Kyle Petty, Jeff Bodine, the pole sitter, is back on the racetrack, although it looks like his car is going very slowly down the back straightaway.
He has pulled out onto the race course, but it's
look at this.
Oh, now look at Rusty Wallace, who has closed in on Terry Labonte. And look at Rusty shoot to the outside. Terry takes him high. Rusty's going to have to back off and hit the brakes. But now let's see what happens into turn 3. Wallace alongside him. Oh, what an outstanding performance by Rusty Wallace. They cross the line, and Rusty Wallace has the lead.
Wow, right on the outside of Labonte. And you're right, it looked like he was going to have to hit the brakes going down the back straightaway coming off turn 2. He said, This may be the first time he's taken the lead in competition this year.
Well, I'll tell you, he has done it in impressive style, too. Not only did he pass Dale Earnhardt, who's running 2nd, and you know Dale Earnhardt's performance here at Bristol, but then he moved up, reeled in, and passed the leader, Terry Labonte, and Rusty Wallace is leading this race here at Bristol this afternoon.
Looks like Barry Dodson and his crew have done their homework. Jack Arute is down in the pit area.
To update you on the condition of Jeff Bodine's machine, well, it's just a matter of time before he parks it behind the wall. Terminal engine problems. They lifted the hood, as you saw the last time when he was in the pits. Last time by, he radioed to Gary Nelson. It's not going to go much further. He said, 10-4, bring it in.
Well, he's running very slowly down the backstretch, Jack, and I think maybe this is his final lap because that car is just not going anywhere. He's very low in turn number 4 now and appears to be coming in. Yes, he is. Jeff Bodine comes into the pits. A tough break for the winner of this year's Daytona 500.
And you would wonder why that he made those slow laps around the racetrack. These fellas, as long as these cars will move, will keep trying to make laps because of the point standings. You showed a graphic just a moment ago that the leader at the halfway point, $150,000. At the end of the season, $250,000 for the guy who's in front. They're trying to get every possible point they can, Bob.
Well, Rusty Wallace is opening up a little bit of a lead here. He's got traffic in front of him. There's Chet Phillip, also Doug Hebron, and Alan Kowicki right ahead of him. He goes high on the racetrack, passes Chet Phillip without any problem. Now Doug Hebron in car number 17 is the car that he needs to pass, going down the backstretch, putting another lap on Doug Hebron. And next will be Alan Kowicki, but he's opened up almost a half a straightaway lead on Terry Labonte. Rusty Wallace is. We'll be right back. International Raceway, where we're presenting the Winston Cup Valleydale 500. At the halfway point of this race, Rusty Wallace the leader, and he has put himself there in fine form, passing both Dale Earnhardt and Terry Labonte with no problem. His lead is now a little more than 4 seconds, and he has even lengthened that a little bit more since we timed him. Second place is Terry Labonte, and third is Dale Earnhardt. Our mid-race recap shows us that the average speed 81.64 miles an hour. We have had 6 leaders, 8 lead changes, 5 caution periods for a total of 47 laps. The leaders, Jeff Bodine, led laps 1 through 11, which were run under caution because of a wet racetrack. Then Neil Bonnet led until he crashed. Dale Earnhardt took over the lead. Then Bobby Hillin Jr. led for a lap. Earnhardt once again, 77 through 161. Jeff Bodine took over the lead for a few more laps. Earnhardt again, then Terry Labonte, and Rusty Wallace took over at lap 240. The drivers out of the race. These drivers because of accidents: Eddie Bierschwal, Dave Marcus, and Bobby Hillin Jr. Morgan Shepherd has also dropped out. So has Mike Waltrip. Neil Bonnet crashed. Jeff Bodine, Ronnie Thomas, Ron Bouchard, and the most recent driver to drop out of competition, Joe Ruttman. He is with Jack in the pit area.
And Joe is still staying strapped in his Quaker State machine. Joe, what is taking you out of the race so far?
Well, Jackie, it appears the upper control arm that holds the right front wheel on is broken. And the only way I could tell is by the way the car steered. And I think you might be able to get a shot of it out in the front of the car that the shaft on the right front upper control arm broke. And I could feel it in the steering. And so we thought maybe it was a tire. And when we determined it wasn't the tire, then we decided we better take a look at something mechanical.
Well, this is not the type of place that you want to run without an upper control arm. Gentlemen?
That's for sure. The tide-high banks of Bristol, very demanding. We have had a change of second position in the last couple of laps. Dale Earnhardt has moved around Terry Labonte, so Earnhardt is now second. Terry Labonte is third. Bill Elliott runs fourth, and Darrell Waltrip runs in fifth position. About a half a race to go. We'll be back with more race going on the track, but it isn't for the lead as Rusty Wallace has really opened up the advantage. He is now more than 7 seconds ahead of second place Dale Earnhardt. A very impressive performance by Rusty Wallace. Second place is Earnhardt. Third is Terry Labonte. Then we get back to this race. Fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh right here. Bill Elliott high on the racetrack. Darrell Waltrip on the inside. We could have a change of position right here. No, Elliott hangs on to the spot for the moment at least. Harry Gant is right behind Darrell Waltrip, and then Ricky Rudd. Waltrip and Elliott once again side by side.
The problem is that all these cars are trying to run the same spot on the racetrack, a little bit high. We see Bill Elliott and Darrell Waltrip both go up. Harry Gant tried on the low side that time, but all of them want to run up on the top of the racetrack. And when you do that, it's just simply follow the leader. Ricky Rudd is the fellow that's really been trying to get by. He's the one back in 7th spot on the right-hand side of the screen. He's been trying real hard to get by Harry Gant, but he's had no luck so far.
Well, we have a Pontiac in the lead, Benny, and Earnhardt Chevy in second position. Then the Oldsmobile by Terry Labonte. Then we get back to fourth and find a Ford. Now, Fords have not been all that impressive on short tracks. Kyle Petty's win at Richmond earlier this year, the Wood Brothers Ford, was only the first win for Ford on a short track since Ricky Rudd did it in Richmond in 1984. The last time a Ford won here at Bristol was in 1971 when, who was it?
David Pearson.
Very good. Drove a Holman Moody car into victory lane in the Valleydale 500.
See, you really didn't know the answer to that. That's why you asked.
I was just testing your knowledge.
Ricky Rudd's Ford and Bill Elliott. 2 Fords, 2 Chevrolets right there. Bill Elliott on the left, number 9. Darrell Waltrip, number 11. And then Harry Gant, 33. And 15, Ricky Rudd. As I said a moment ago, unfortunately, they all need to run in the same spot on the racetrack to get around it with the best speed.
Now Rudd looking like he wanted to challenge Harry Gant there coming off the second corner, but they go single file once again. Now Rudd to the low side in turn number 4, moving alongside Harry Gant. They cross the finish line, and Gant with about a half car length advantage there on Rudd. The cars go high. Looks like they're maybe using a higher groove in 3 than they were early in the race.
Darrell Waltrip trying Bill Elliott and going in turn 3 right on the bottom of the racetrack. Elliott goes high, Waltrip on the bottom, side by side as he exits turn 4. Bill Elliott beats him to the line.
Waltrip running side by side, and Waltrip has him coming off the second corner.
Looks like Waltrip has the spot.
Waltrip into fourth now, Elliott to fifth. Let's see if Harry Gant can also pass Bill Elliott here. Gant to the inside of Elliott in turn 4. He's certainly going to make a challenge, but maybe not right at the moment.
He saw Darrell Waltrip make that move on the inside. He said, what the heck, I got a Chevrolet. If he can do that, so can I. But he wasn't quite as successful as Darrell Waltrip.
Good racing here, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Now Ricky Rudd takes his Ford high, but falls in behind Harry Gant once again.
Now they're all going to try the bottom of the racetrack. Since Darrell had some success down there, they said, well, maybe it's a little faster down there. They all move back. Right now, we can see that all these drivers are really hunting and searching for the best way around the racetrack for their car.
There is Waltrip, and not too far ahead of Waltrip is Terry Labonte, who's in 3rd position now. Rudd and Harry Gant are side by side once again. They're coming off the second corner. Rudd moves low on the racetrack here in 3 and 4. You can see that Joe Ruttman in car number 26, who's right behind Ricky Rudd, has made it back out onto the racetrack. Now Rudd and Gant are still going at it out there for position down the backstretch.
Once again, Rudd on the bottom, Harry Gant on the outside. One thing, when you run on the top side of the racetrack, you get so much more momentum, because as you exit these turns, Bob, you have to drive uphill to get out of the corner. When you run high, it's more of a level transition from the middle of the corner to the straightaway, so therefore you don't lose as many RPMs.
So we watch this battle here involving Ricky Rudd and Harry Gant. Now Gant is
Joe Ruttman right there,
putting a little bit of racetrack between himself and Ricky Rudd, as Joe Ruttman is running alongside of Ricky Rudd now. But of course Ruttman is well off the pace, having come in for a lengthy pit stop. 300 laps have been completed. We have 200 to go in the Valleydale 500. Now we see Harry Gant moving to the high side of Bill Elliott, and Gant smokes the tires on the right side. Got a little bit sideways up there in the corner.
Boy, did he smoke the tires. Looked like they were on fire. They smoked so bad. Oh, here he goes by Bill Elliott on the outside.
And Gant grabs the spot high on the racetrack. Again, those tires are smoking on the right side, but I believe he has the position cleanly.
Sure does.
He does indeed. Harry Gant moving into 5th spot. So the standings now, Wallace in the lead, Dale Earnhardt second, then Labonte, then Waltrip, then Gant, Rudd, and Elliott.
Third spot. You see Joe Ruttman, he's having fun out there because he's got 4 new tires on. This is the best his car's been all day. He said, I'm going to pass some of these fellas. There we see the reader, Rusty Wallace, and he has dominated this event so far.
Just like he told us he would. And let's see how much of a lead he has. Well, it's a little over a half a lap, and we have a spin involving Dale Earnhardt and Alan Kulwicki also. Terry Labonte is involved. A major crash here on the backstretch just off of corner number 2. I don't think anybody got hurt real seriously as far as damage to the car is concerned, but Earnhardt and Labonte were among the spinners.
Yes, and Rusty Wallace has lapped Dale Earnhardt and Terry Labonte while they were sitting there. So he has Earnhardt and Labonte a lap down.
A great break for Rusty Wallace, and a terrible break for Dale Earnhardt and Terry Labonte, who got tangled up with some other cars coming off of the second corner. Alan Kulwicki was also involved in that accident. There is Earnhardt, who is back underway. As a matter of fact, all the cars that did stop over there after spinning are back under their own power, but we do have a caution flag waving over Bristol International Raceway. Here is the replay.
What happened was Kulwicki it looked like he didn't realize that Earnhardt was alongside of him. He's